My boyfriend, 30M, wants to break up with me, 25F, after almost 5 years because he wet the bed. Last night my boyfriend went out with his friends and got back around 1:30 a.m. I was already asleep but he woke me up when he got home, so I know he was drunk when he got back. This morning I wake up to the blanket I'm using soaking wet. I thought it was a dream but nope. I smelt it because I thought water fell off the shelf at first, nope. It was unmistakably pee. I wake my boyfriend up and very calmly and gently ask him to check if he wet the bed. His mom told me previously that years ago he'd come home drunk and wet the bed, and that's why his old mattress was pretty much black. Disgusting. I was very nice and cautious as to not hurt his feelings or embarrass him if he was unaware. He wakes up groggy and mad that I woke him and says he didn't. I checked my pants and the middle is dry, so I'm very confused. The dog hasn't had an accident in the house since he was a puppy, so I know it's not him. I wake my boyfriend up and tell him the bed's wet, something happened. He denies it again and gets mad, saying he only had 45 more minutes to sleep before work. I threw the blanket off me and to his side. It's clearly wet. When I sat up I see that he has laid down 2 shirts under him. I jolted out of bed and realized my pants on my hip are also soaked. I see a pair of boxers in the garbage. I cannot believe what I'm experiencing. This man wet the bed in the middle of the night, and instead of cleaning it up he put down 2 thin t-shirts and left me to sleep in his piss. I woke up covered in his pee. He then admits he did but won't let go of the fact that he doesn't have much time left to sleep and starts calling me awful names. I asked why he didn't clean it up when he realized, and he acted like it wasn't his job to clean it. You wet the bed, are still laying in it, and left me in it too. I'm not yelling because his family is downstairs, we're at his house, but I'm obviously very annoyed. And instead of taking any responsibility for it, no apology, no reason, no promise of cleaning it, instead of doing the mature thing, he breaks up with me. Tells me he's finally single and he doesn't have to put up with my fat ass anymore. He goes on a whole tirade about how fat I am. I'm 5 feet 5 inches, 185 pounds, size 10-12 US. I don't think I'm thin by any means. But I've been actively dieting, exercising, and doing intermittent fasting for the past few months, and I've lost 15 pounds and counting. He said such awful things to me. I just kept telling him to get up, get a bag, put the sheets in the washer, clean this, I'll help you. How are you just sleeping in it? But he just kept hurling insults at me. Look at your fat face. Your chin is shaking every time you talk. You're so ugly. You fat bitch. I can clean this up in a minute but you'll still be fat. I'm done with you, I'm not coming home tonight, I'm single. I don't have to drag your fat ass around anymore. Stand in the mirror and jump and tell me you aren't fat. Get all of your stuff out of my house. If you don't get it all out by the time I come back, I'm throwing it in the street. Get a U-Haul and get it all out. My workshop is in his garage, so it's a lot of stuff for work. I'm trying very hard to be understanding because I get that he's embarrassed. But he was just saying so many mean things that I started crying. I told him I understand he's embarrassed, but we just need to fix the situation now. He said, the only embarrassing thing here is you. When's the last time you worked out? I see what you eat. You're only losing weight because you're starving yourself, you fat fuck. You're so embarrassing, dragging you around town. You're not losing weight fast enough. I can't go to the beach because you're so fat. You're 25 and you have the body of a 50-year-old. You don't turn me on, you fat fuck. Saggy titty bitch. You're supposed to be in the prime of your life and this is it. Look at me and look at you, I'm too good for you. Just wait till I get home, I'm breaking up with you. Actually, I'm not going to come home, so we're done now. He then took pictures of me crying, so I took a video of him in a good damn puddle. He told me he's not taking the sheets down while his parents are home and I better not tell them what happened. I feel like I'm crazy. How is it my fault? He told me to lay down till his parents left, so I changed my clothes and used baby wipes to clean off any wet areas that were on me. And I laid down in the dog's bed. Which prompted more mean comments about how that's where I belong. After he left the room I balled the sheets and comforter up. He told me to leave it until he came home, but I have work today and can't leave without losing thousands of dollars, so I need the bed clean and he just won't do it. Before I moved them he literally sprayed cologne on them like that was a fix. I asked about the mattress cause he doesn't have a mattress protector and he said he'll flip it. He won't. And that's disgusting. The morning ended with me on the dog bed crying, being called fat, being told I'm single now, and with a grown man's urine-soaked sheets to clean. I just want to scream. Was I wrong for being upset? I tried to be understanding when I thought it was an accident, but he left me in it and didn't see an issue. And when confronted, he lashed out and hurt met feelings because he was embarrassed. What could I have done differently, if anything? I don't want to break up, but maybe if we do it'll be good. I couldn't care less about the bedwetting. The verbal abuse and trying to put you down, in order to save face, was horrible. I don't actually know how to fix that. You don't want to break up with someone who verbally abused you over your weight? I really don't think any advice given here will help you. Do you really want to stay with a bedwetter? He's pathetic. He got embarrassed and instead of just dealing he got offensive. Guy's a poss. You're better off without him. Oh, he has way more issues going on here than just bedwetting. No one deserves that type of verbal abuse. Do not clean his sheets or comforter, just pack up and leave. I'm single now, and with a grown man's urine-soaked sheets to clean. Nope. If you are single, grab what you can, leave the bed as is and go rent a truck to get your stuff. Once you're out, tell his parents that their child got pissy and you left. I, 24 female. Feel like my boyfriend, 24 male, has a secret relationship with my mom, 47 female. My boyfriend and I have been dating for 9 years. We live with my parents still because housing is crazy, but I've always been off about my boyfriend and mom. When he didn't live with me he would text her just as much as me and have actually conversations with her with when him and I would send, babe, and, baby, back and forth and then what's up every now then with that little conversations that everyone knows how goes. He would delete their messages and I asked him about it and he said that he doesn't want his parents looking at his stuff so he deletes them all. But our messages were still there? Just people he didn't want me to read were gone. Because if someone got on his phone wouldn't they go to our messages first? I got curious and got on my mom's phone and read their stuff and they would talk about feelings, their favorite things, say, "I'll word you." I asked him about that and he says he said it like that because he didn't want to say, "I love you" to anyone else but me. But honestly I think that makes it more special to have your own word and why delete them? One time I asked him if he was okay and he said yeah and 10 minutes later my mom told me I need to talk to him because he wants to kill himself. So I asked him again and he said he was fine and she showed me the messages and he's just deep in his feelings while just sending, "baby" to me. I asked him why he was so open to her and he said, because she's an adult. I can trust her, like you can't trust me? Okay dick. I started to push my feelings aside because I thought I was crazy like they both were saying and one day my mom was sleeping on the couch and after my boyfriend left that day he blew up and said that my boyfriend was watching her sleep dreamily. It started to become a big thing that everyone on my mom's side thought there was something going on because of dad and how close they were. My parents would fight all the time over it. I just kept my mouth shut. We were going on vacation and Peacock by Katy Perry came on and I was laying on my boyfriend's shoulder in the back and my mom was in the passenger seat and she sent him, "Are you brave enough to let me see your peacock?" He laughed and whispered, "Someone's happy." He didn't like the word horny so he used that. This was in 2015 and I brushed it off. But my God, thinking back on it now I wish I didn't. My boyfriend doesn't remember this and thinks I'm crazy. But being called crazy makes my memory not right, but I'm 95% sure after that he turned away from me and started texting someone. 2019 I had my first baby after a week. It was me, my mom and boyfriend in the home at the time and I was in the living room sitting down while my baby was sleeping on me and my boyfriend went to the pantry a little after my mom went to the kitchen. I didn't think anything of it until I started hearing my mom giggle and whispering. I got up as slow as possible so they wouldn't hear me and right at least minute the floor made a noise and it sounded like they moved away from each other and my mom was right by the door when I came in like she was trying to block me and said very weirdly, "What are you doing up? Like I can't get up?" I look at my boyfriend and was standing with legs crossed like he was hiding his hard on and bent forward and looked at me and said, "What are you doing? Like why are they both asking me that?" She left and I asked him what the hell that was and he said, "I was just in here looking for food." I don't know why she was. I asked him why he was bent like that and he said because his stomach hurt. Once again I brushed it off because I thought it was postpartum brain like he was telling me. And that brings us to now. Not much, just that his never deletes messages because why would he have to, so I told him to stop and he told me to text my mom the other day on his phone and all hers and only her messages were gone. I don't know if they had something going on, still do, or I'm just crazy. You don't sound crazy at all. And if something is going on that's extra sad because it sounds like he was a child at the time. Sorry this is happening. Sweetie, no mother-in-law should be calling her son-in-law babe or baby. Ever. This is beyond creepy and highly suspect that he deletes the texts. Can you check your mom's phone? 2015? He was a minor and your mom has been grooming him. Op. Is your dad around? Tell him. I mean this in the most respectful way possible, but how have you been this naive for significant other long? How are you still in a relationship with this man that doesn't respect you or your boundaries, and that fact that he lives with your mom? Them kissing in the kitchen and him getting a hard-on right after you gave birth. I can confidently say there's a lot going on. You know it, I know it, they know it, we all know it. The giant red flags have been there for years. Not only are they together, your mom has been grooming him. You guys are 24. I am 26 and I turned 19 at the end of 2015. Seriously reevaluate your relationship with him and your mom. My 45 male wife, 45 female has disappeared. How can I do well by her? Hi all. My 45 male wife, 45 female, and I have spent the last 12 years side by side. We met each other as we were finding new career pathways in our 30s and did every undergrad class together. Then we started a successful photography business together. Then we did grad school together, and in 2022 we started another business together. Our lives were getting better and better, and though we had problems, in general we were coming to deeper understanding of one another. In April of this year, we had a couple of arguments that were uncharacteristically difficult. They reminded me of arguments we'd had early on in our relationship. It was confusing. And after our second argument, my wife flew to her friend's house in the States. We live in Canada. Once there, she sent me frightening text messages that she was having delusions and thought someone was going to kill her. She also said that she and I were over and to never text her again. I tried everything I could to get in touch with her, and encouraged her friends to do so as well, to help my wife feel supported. She blocked all channels of communication. Within a couple days, she returned home and she seemed to be somewhat herself, though a bit standoffish. She had a wild story about what happened to her in the States, much of which was alarming to hear because of how unusual and unsafe she had behaved. We talked a bit about her experience and then she had a nap. She wanted me to sleep in the other room, until her sense of trust was restored. During her delusions she thought that I was a demon and was going to sacrifice her. After her nap, she started smudging the room and feeling alarmed again, and told me to stay out of her room because my presence was toxic. She became mean-spirited to me. Then she called a friend in Canada to come pick her up. Over the next couple of weeks, she said that we were over, and she continued to cut ties with me, blocked numbers, email addresses, social media, etc. She also left me with all of our debt, which is a large amount due to going to school and starting a new business. I haven't heard from her in weeks. A mutual friend says she is doing okay but won't give me any details. To say that I am devastated is an understatement. I cry constantly and can't seem to make sense of a reality where this is happening. In many ways, my wife was the inspiration for me to be a better man than I had been, and to live well, in a moral sense. Every fiber of my being wants to protect her and support her through whatever she is going through right now, but I can't. She had made many impulsive decisions lately, so I don't know if she'll come back to me or if she's gone forever. I remain committed to keeping the door open to her, but every day is agony. Loneliness, helplessness, and grief. Though I know there are other factors at play, I also feel so abandoned, rejected and betrayed. Worst is that my precious wife is suffering and there is nothing I can do. I'm not religious, but I pray for long periods of time now. Is there any good I can do for her or myself? Edit. 1. I have encouraged her to seek help but she has refused. Most of my encounters with her since she left have been strange. She is clearly not behaving as I would expect. But from someone who didn't know her, she would seem normal enough that no actions would be taken. I work in mental health and my decisions around this are informed. 2. I don't know why her friends are acting like my wife is fine. Her friends have been a source of profound frustration and disappointment. My most generous interpretation of them is that they are trying to support her by letting her make her own decisions, including secrecy, hiding, avoiding professional help and making many other impulsive decisions. She's clearly having serious mental health issues. She needs a doctor. Are you still in contact with her friends? You need to tell them that she is mentally ill and needs to see a doctor. I don't understand why they are watching her have delusions and saying she's fine. As a piece of advice, drain the bank accounts y'all have together and move all the money into accounts with just your name, that way she couldn't possibly drain all your money, and move legally to sever her from the photography business. Then, as emotional advice, I'm really sorry man. This totally sucks and is a terrible thing that is happening to you. I hope it works out for you and everything turns out beautifully. Get a divorce lawyer. Save every piece of communication you have had with her. Get a lawyer. I had a very similar situation happen. I ended up in the ER and then a mental health hospital for 7 days. I was suffering from clinical chronic depression and anxiety and I was not even aware. I left that place a much better person. Please get her help somehow. Is this cheating? 33 female and M30. A woman that works out at my husband's gym thought my husband was hot and got his name and number from a gym attendant. She texted him asking him out. He told her he is married but continued to talk to her, telling him all about himself and his life over the next 2 days. He even set up a time to work out with her at the gym. He never mentioned any of this to me. The day this happened I asked my husband all about his day when he got home and he never mentioned. This chick texted me out of the blue, like nothing. About 4 days later I ended up running into this woman and her trainer at a different gym location. Her trainer came up to me to see if I was interested in competing, and we struck up a convo. The woman was really nice and we had a lot in common. We both agreed to start training together in the future and I was honestly happy to make a new friend. I go home that night and tell my husband all about it. Husband seems completely normal. He has a normal convo with me about it and asks normal questions. Nothing out of the ordinary. Plot twist though, because apparently they are the same woman and I don't know. Husband texts this woman the next morning asking if she met me at the gym and she says yes. I assume he recognized her name and description from our convo the night before and that clued him in that they might be the same person. This woman found out then that I was his wife, she also had no idea, and he freaks out. He texts me, "We need to talk," and calls me multiple times. He then accuses me of trolling him. I didn't, and that's when I realize something is wrong because he admits then to the whole thing assuming I was pretending to be this woman on the phone. WTF. I had exchanged numbers with this woman the night I met her so I gave her a call and we chatted. That's when I find out that my husband was texting her and was going to work out with her all without me ever knowing. She admitted that this was sketchy and said she'd stop talking to him. Am I validated to feel like it's screwed up that my husband was about to meet up with someone women who hit on him and chatting on the side without ever mentioning it to me? Even if he did tell her he was married? It bothers me that when I met her at the gym and came home and told him about it that he didn't bother to even say anything then like, "You know what, she sounds really familiar to a woman who texted me the other day." But he just kept it all a secret. The most horrific part is how normal he was the entire time. Like he had a whole convo with me about it pretending like he had no idea who I was talking about. It's crazy. I should also add that a few days after he met her, via text, that he all of a sudden wanted to have a talk with me about our marriage and was suddenly unsure if our marriage was going to be okay. This is the first time my husband has questioned our marriage. It caught me a little off guard at the time, but now I'm wondering if he thought he had a chance with this woman and that gave him some confidence to bow out. Thoughts? He may not have cheated yet, but he's well on his way to doing so. This is a field of red flags. Did he cheat? No. Will he should the opportunity present itself? Yes, with bells on. Just looking at your profile history, it looks like you know the guy had been cheating on you since a while ago, and for some reason, you're trying to get the approval from some random people to take decisions. If you're not happy and he is not respecting you, just move on and stop wasting your time. Trust me, he will not change. You deserve better. The fact that he is acting so guilty and nervous about it is kind of indicative of where his head was at. He might not have cheated or may have, but seems to have been entertaining the idea. I'm not sure that in itself is that rare though, but chatting to someone and not being open about it is bad behavior. He knew what he was doing.